All right, so this is where we left off last time. This is 8-1. We talked about comparing, we talked about geometric means. And we talked about at the end how this, you can see this is geometric mean because we said a over x is equal to x over b. And then that becomes x squared is equal to ab, or the square x is equal to the square root of ab. So you see this right here where it says a times b. A times b is x squared. Well, this crazy thing happens. H right here. H becomes, or h squared becomes xy. If you take a look right here, this h squared is the same as this whole thing right here. Well, not that whole thing, but that was a mistake. Forget what I just said there. It's equal to this times this. And continue that process. Take a look at what happens when we, if you continue on, that was this. What about h? We have this CA. Is there a way to be able to get h or a compared to xy? Is there a way to be able to get a compared to xy? Well, you take a look here, and we have an a and an a. So then a squared is equal to cx. So a is equal to cx, or that's a squared is equal to x plus y, which is c times by x. And then you can continue that process and get over to here. And it's just crazy. So let's take a look. Here is geometric means, corollaries. Knowing that this right here forms similar triangles, then you can write this down. H squared is equal to xy, and a squared is equal to xc, and b squared is equal to yc. So I want you to draw this out right here, and then I want you to put these down, because we're going to be using these right here in our next problems. So go ahead and pause the video if you need to, and I'm just giving you a minute for whoever it is to pause it so you can get that copied down and then continue on. So find x, y, and z. X, y, and z. Well, first, let's write down what we know. H squared is equal to x times y is equal to x times y. Now they've got these labeled weird, right? In x, y, and z. So we write this down here knowing this, that this is x and this is y, right? So we're going to go ahead and rename these to, let's just call this club and diamond. So this is H is equal to diamond times club. So that'll give us the ability to be able to find x pretty easily, because H, right? So 6 squared is equal to 9 times by And club is x, right? So we plug that in. All right, guys, it is like 11 o'clock at night, trying to get this done. Haven't slept all day because my boy is too cute and everything like that. I'm going to give you guys a moment to be able to copy that down. Copy this down, all right? So you're going to draw your triangle out. And then you're going to draw in this. And then your 6. And your 9. And your x. And your y. And your z. So you get that all taken care of. So this is h. And we go ahead and do this. 36 is equal to 9x. Divide by 9, divide by 9. And that gives us 4 is equal to x. So we can plug that in right over here. So that's equal to 4. And now we go back again and we take a look at this. A squared is equal to xc. So a squared is equal to xc. And c is the smaller one. So that's equal to club and diamond, or c is the whole thing. X is the smaller one. X is the smaller one, and C is the whole thing. Where we're going to need to write that down. C is equal to diamond plus club. So we write that down. And club is X, so this is going to be club times by diamond plus club is equal to A squared. So let's go ahead and plug those in. A squared. What is club? Club is a number this time, guys, right? Because we know that. We know this whole thing here. So that's going to be 4 times by 9 plus 4. And then we go ahead and work that out. 9 plus 4 is 13. So A squared is equal to 4 times by 13. And that gives us A squared is equal to 52. Take the square root of this, the square root of this. And we get A is equal to the square root of 52. And if you plug it into your calculator, you'll get it to be approximately 7.21. But we don't want it to be 7.21. We want it to be exact. So we need to simplify this 52 and bring that down. Divide by 2 gives us like 26. Divide by 2 gives us 13. So we combine these and we get 4, square root of 4 times by the square root of 13. So that gives us 2 the square root of 13, or approximately 7.21. So that gives us A. And if we go back to here, A squared is going to be what they have as Y. So this is going to be equal to 2 the square root of 13. Now we have Z, and Z is going to be our B is equal to Y times C. So B squared is equal to club times by, or diamond times by diamond plus club. And so that's going to be B squared is equal to 9 times by 13, because remember we said C was 9 plus 4. So then we go ahead and work this out. 9 times 13 gives us B squared is equal to 117. Take the square root of this and the square root of this. and b is going to approximately equal to 10.63. We want it to be exact. So 117 looks to me like it's probably going to be prime, because I don't see any way to be able to divide that up. So it's just going to be the square root of 117. So that's how you go ahead and do that. And you're thinking, I don't know how to do this, Mr. Seekins. I am very confused. I know. You're going to need to practice it. Look at it, practice. Once you've found the unknown side lengths, you can use the Pythagorean theorem to check your answers. Let's go ahead and just work through this really fast again. The other way that would have made this really simple is let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. And let's get rid of this. And then label everything the way that it should be labeled. X is the smaller side. X is the smaller side, so this is Y, this is X, this is H, and A is the smaller side on the big triangle, so this would have been A, this would have been B. That would have simplified everything up for you guys, so that then the theorem matches. And I probably should have done that from the beginning, but I didn't think about it. So you have H squared is equal to X times by Y. You have A squared is equal to X times by C. So we're going to need to label that. C is equal to Y plus X. And then B squared is equal to Y times by C. So you're going to want, that would probably have made everything so much easier for you to just be able to look at it instead of using the clubs and the diamonds. I mean, it worked just fine, but we had to keep going back and forth. This way, it's right there, and you don't have to go back and forth. You just know. All right, so we take a look at this here. I don't know how they would happen to know all of this stuff here, but let's say that they do. They want to know what the height of the tree to the nearest meter is. To the nearest meter, so nearest meter means we get to actually use the calculator when we do square root, so that's pretty nice. So this is 7.8, right? So we go ahead and go through this and label this, right? So this is going to be X is the smallest one. Actually, I need to give you guys time to be able to write that stuff down, so go ahead and draw your triangle out. And now that you have your triangle drawn out, we label X, Y, H. The smaller side is A, and the larger side is B. Right? So we label this A, or not A, excuse me. This is X, Y, A, B, and H. So we know H helps to label these. H is equal to 7.8. X is equal to 1.6. So let's go through here. And since this is a 90 degrees, we can use the Pythagorean theorem to find A. So A squared, well, excuse me. A squared. This is a small a, right? Small x, small h, small y, small b. I'm going to rewrite this right here so that I have this like that. So this is 1.6, this is 7.8, and this is going to be c because it's going to be opposite the hypotenuse. So we know that c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. When we plug those in, we don't know what c is, so c squared is equal to 1.6 squared plus 7.8 squared. You guys see what I'm doing here? I'm using the Pythagorean theorem to get this line. Because once we get that line, that'll be able to help us to be able to figure everything else out. Actually, getting that line will speed up everything because we won't need to actually use the theorem anymore. Because since we know that these triangles are similar, we can just use the we can use similar, which allows us to know that things are proportional, and then we can use a proportion to be able to figure it out. You guys have been using proportions pretty much since the 6th grade or earlier, so you should be able to do that. If you can do that without having to do this other stuff, then that's the way to go. So let's go ahead and work this out. All right, so 1.6 squared is 2.56, 7.8 squared is 60.84. Adding those up gives us 60.3. So c squared, take the square root, take the square root. So we square root 63.4. And that gives us c to be equal to 7.96. Now this c is for this problem right here, just this. That is not this c here. That is a different c. So we'll go ahead and say c1, and I'll say c2, so that this is c2, so that we know that. Now that we know that this right here, 7.96, and we'll say 962, that'll give us the ability to, when we round to the nearest meter, we're much closer. We probably don't need 3, but I'm just keeping 3 so that we can round it to the nearest meter and know that we're pretty much correct on our answer. All right, so on a proportional, this is the small side on this red triangle, right? Or it's not the small side on the red triangle. That's the large side. This is the hypotenuse side, right? But this is a small side right here, small side, which now this is going to be S1 and this is going to be S2 because this is going to be the small side on the green triangle here. So basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to redraw this so that you can see what's going on. So this green triangle I'm going to draw right here. And this is going to be 90 degrees, right? And I'm going to label these. This is small, and this is small. It's going to be S2, and this will be S1. And then this is going to be H2 and H1. So in this case, we know that this is 7.962. So it's going to be, we're looking for the H, so it's H2 over S2 is equal to H1 over S1. Because we're going to use proportionals to figure this out. Because we know that these triangles are similar, that means they are proportional. So we go ahead and plug these in. Do we know H2? No, so we say H2. Do we know S2? Yes. It's 7.962 is equal to, and then H1, 7.962 over S1, 1.6. Now, do you notice what would happen here? We multiply these together. They're the same, right? So that ends up doing exactly what they wanted us to do anyway, but we're using proportionals to be able to work this out. So c squared, we already know what this is going to be. It's going to be 63.4. So we go like this, we multiply this. So actually, we don't need to do that. So we say H2 is equal to 63.4 divided by 1.6. And we go ahead and work that out. 63.4 divided by 1.6 gives us C1 is equal to 39.62 meters, and we round that to the nearest foot. So C1 is equal to 40 meters. That's what they're looking for. All right, so now for your homework. So go to page 521, 24 to 27. So that's only 4 problems for you. So that's nice. They do take a while, but you should have time to be able to do that. This entire thing took 20 minutes, so you should be able to get done with all of those problems before the end of the class. Be sure to check your answers in the book. The teacher's book is right there. When you're done, check your answers. If you made a mistake or you have a different answer, try to figure out why you have a different answer. All right? It's due at the end of the period. If you don't get all the way through, I will grade based on what 80% of the class gets through. If nobody gets through anything, well, you need to make it through at least 2 problems. You need to make it through half of them. But I assume you should be able to. Oh my goodness, guys, I'm so tired. Just make it through everything. All right? If you don't get done with it, take it home as homework. But get done with it. It's Friday. All right.